The meeting at the Orangevale Parks District for July 8th, 2021 is now in session. It is in session at 6:36. We'll go by that clock. And location, of course, is at the Orangevale Park District. The first thing I'll do is call the order. And let's see, who's going to take the minutes?
I am.
Okay, Erica's going to take the minutes. You do the roll, please.
Okay. Swenson, present. Stickney is absent. Mraz,
Present.
Brunberg,
Present.
and Montez is absent. And we also have Barry Ross,
Present.
Jennifer Von Ash, Horacio Oropesa,
Present.
Jason Bain, Melissa Woodford, and not listed is
Nadia's not here.
Nadia is absent. Okay.
Okay. State we have a quorum.
Yes, we have a quorum.
Okay. At this time, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance since we have people on Zoom. I pledge allegiance
To
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll move for approval of the agenda. Do we have any?
I move to approve the agenda.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and approved. Seconded, the agenda is approved. Public discussion. Any
Well-
person,
Do we have to say all in favor? Aye, I guess,
well, okay, let's go ahead and do that for quorum's
for
sake.
the agenda.
I actually do have a quick question. So I had spoken to Barry about possibly moving some agendas to the next meeting. Is that something we need to do now during the approval of the agenda?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably a good idea.
this would be a good
Yes.
time to do it.
Okay,
Okay.
let's go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. Let's go ahead and do that now.
Okay, so item, let's see, the
6, right?
the 6th, or, sorry, this is your computer.
No, go ahead.
So it's approving the minutes from last meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Would need to change because
We don't have the
none
three
of,
people. Yeah.
yes, none of us were there. And then the other one that I asked to move is
It's 13K.
13K. The approval of the agreement with All Events Management to hold Bow Wow Days
Right.
to be moved to August meeting.
So we'll go ahead and, let's go ahead for the first item, of course. I'm the only one that was present for that, so.
Right, yeah, gotta move the minutes to next.
So we'll move the minutes of June 10th to next month.
There's one other item, too, that I'd like to bring up.
Yes?
It's item numbers 13F and 13G.
13F?
It's for the
Yes.
park impact fees presentation in that resolution. The presenter
nexus
is
fees? Mhm.
Blair Oz, and because he has another meeting tonight, would like to move that agenda item up to after item 5.
Okay.
Okay, so do we do another?
So, yeah, I
Motion.
rescind my original motion to approve it as written, and
Okay.
I move to approve the agenda as modified.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
And I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to make those corrections to move.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so that's 3-0-0.
Okay, passes. Let's go ahead and move on to the correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
We're actually on item 5 now. which
Item
is
5, but we haven't gotten that far yet,
Oh.
have
the
we?
discussion.
Yeah,
We're
public
jumping all over the
discussion.
place. Okay, bear with me, we haven't done this in a while. See, any person may address the board upon subject any subject within the jurisdiction of the Orangevale Rec and Park District, each speaker being limited to 3 minutes. However, the chairperson can impose reasonable limitations to the maximum time per person and per agenda item to allow the board to complete its business. Any matter that requires action will be referred to staff and/or committee for a report and action at a subsequent meeting. Okay, at this time, we'll look to the minutes. We've already done that.
No, the public, do we have any public discussion?
We
Public
do have,
discussion. Oh, yes, we do, I'm sorry.
yes, we do have somebody from the public. Ms. Peg Pinard is joining us.
Ms. Peg Bernard, there you are.
Now we need to get the sound, yeah.
You guys muted me.
Yes, there you are.
Okay, thank you very much. It's hot out here, guys. It's really hot. So thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. As you know, a lot of our neighbors have been very interested in what was called the Electric Greenway Trail Project and have been meeting and coming up with ideas to be ready for the discussion that you said we would have once Citrus Heights said they had a fairly final approval, or not approval, but a program. So in that regard, it came up that there's a lot of possibilities that have never been asked of the particular legislative bodies, the regulatory agencies. And in order to have a good discussion between you and us and the people in the neighborhood, it would be really helpful if we could get some answers. All we've had right now are just some of the things that Citrus Heights has proposed. As you know, many of those are controversial. We would like to ask the regulatory agencies their opinion about an alternate way of doing it. And if we can get that kind of an answer from them, then it should really help the discussion between you and us when it comes time in the future. So they've asked me to fashion a draft letter that I'd like to submit to Barry, basically just asking the agencies for their ideas on our proposals, our modifications. We think that they fit their regulations, but nobody's asked them. Nobody's gone to them and said, hey, what about doing it this way? And I think that that would be very fruitful for our overall discussion, and certainly is something that the neighbors should be allowed to submit to you and through you to the agencies, FEMA, Caltrans, and whoever else is needing to give approval for different aspects of this project. I think it will result in a better project overall, and hope that you concur. I can submit our neighborhood letter to Barry in the next couple of days and then just send a letter off and ask them for what they think. It's not really a board action as much as just asking for board correspondence at this point.
Yeah, I would suggest that that be the course. And we'd really invite that letter. We'll take it from there and see what we can do.
I have
really
a question.
appreciate it.
I have a question for, what, you mentioned agencies. I was just curious what agencies you're referring to.
Well, there, in the beginning of the project report, there is a list of about, there's a list of about 7 agencies that are involved, but the regulatory agencies, other than the permissive ones, are FEMA with regard to the flood concerns, flood issues, and then also Caltrans with regard to the crossing at Fair Oaks. So those are the kind of agencies I'm talking about, and those are listed in the project report itself.
Thank you.
Very quick, your draft letter, is that going to include specific areas that?
Yes, I'd like to try and make sure we get as much specificity in there as possible so that the agencies know exactly what our concerns are, and also be laid out for you so that you will know their responses to those concerns directly.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we'll go on to,
How do you find out if there's anybody else that
yeah, is
wants
there any
to?
other member?
There's a Jody on there.
But do they raise their hand if they want to speak?
Jody,
The public
if you can
discussion?
hear us, would you
There's a Joel,
Oh, is it Joel? I'm
There's a
sorry.
Joel, a Susan, and a,
Blair's SCI.
oh, okay, yeah.
So Joel, if you'd like to speak with us, please
I think you can raise your hand.
show yourself or enter something in the chat box.
Okay, maybe they're just attending.
I can't read the name. Tamashito?
That's great. Yes, Tamashiro. That's great if they're,
Tamashiro.
Joel Tamashiro.
it does look like there's something in the chat.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's just attending.
It's just attending? Okay,
Great.
great.
Okay.
Thank you, Joel. So the next item would be Blair's
Okay.
presentation. Want me to take that?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so now we're skipping to item 13F. And I'd like to do a quick introduction for Blair, who's joining us. He's here to present on the Nexus study for the park impact fees. And the park impact fees are a valuable resource for the district. As housing and population growth occurs in our area, the park impact fees provide an opportunity for the district to expand park property and/or facilities to address the increased demand on public space. Blair Oss is the Director of Planning Services for SCI Consulting. We're happy to have Blair here tonight to provide us with an update on the recent Nexus study for park impact fees and its effects on the Orangevale Recreational Park District. Blair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Barry, and good evening, board members. Again, my name is Blair Oz. I'm with SCI Consulting Group. Pleased to be with you this evening. What I thought I would do is just give you just a brief summary of the update to the Nexus study and the Park Impact Fee Program, and then certainly take any questions that you might have. The Nexus study that's before you this evening establishes the legal and the policy basis for the continued imposition of the district's Park Impact Fee Program. And again, remembering that this fee works in conjunction with the district's Quimby program as well. The fee program was established in 2010 and has been regularly adjusted for inflation over the years. So it's reasonable every after a certain period of time that the fee program should be updated, meaning that the Nexus study, which is what is required under a law to establish that fee program, is updated as well. So the cost estimates, the district's demographics, the district's facility plan are all updated in this fee program. Keeping in mind too that the fee program was updated in conjunction with 7 other recreation and park districts throughout Sacramento. So before you tonight is just simply a resolution that approves the Nexus study and the proposed fee program and makes a recommendation that the County Board of Supervisors adopts it on your behalf. And so the reason that the county is involved is that this fee and your Quimby program as well, both these programs and the associated fees are considered monetary exactions. They're conditions of approval of development projects. And so as a special district, you certainly have taxing authority, but you do not have land use authority, which is reserved for cities and counties. And so that's why you have to work in conjunction with the county. And so the fee program, as I'd mentioned, was established in 2010. And interestingly, at that time, that was the downturn in the housing market and the Great Recession. And so in order to establish these fee programs, we worked very closely with the county, the North State Building Industry Association, and area developers in the other districts to form these, to create these programs. And out of that effort was an agreement in principle. Essentially, in 2010, we got to a point where we were having so many conversations and we weren't really making much progress. So we decided, well, what do we agree upon on how these fees should be structured? And out of that came this agreement in principle. And so that agreement in principle is still in place. And the fee program is in line with that agreement in principle. So we're still following all of those provisions of that agreement. The fee and so the fee program has the resulting fees out of this update are actually slightly lower than the fees that you're currently levying. So we're actually with this update, you'll be able to continue to impose the fees, but the fees will drop just slightly. Now, that's actually not a surprise, only because the fees have been adjusted regularly for inflation over the years. And so we're actually finding for the other 7 park districts that there are some that the fees are declining just slightly. Some are just declining a little bit, but for the most part, the fees are not. There are not any dramatic changes one way or the other. The fee program, again, keeping in mind that the fee program is a one-time fee that's charged at the time of building permit issuance for any new construction. And again, it would only apply to new construction that's adding a dwelling unit or adding commercial space to the district. And so that one-time fee, these monies can be used to expand the district's park and recreational facilities. That's the purpose behind the fee, is that as the district grows, you need to have revenue to be able to fund, to be able to expand the parks and recreational facilities to serve that growth. So not only is that the purpose behind the fee, but that is the restriction on the use of the fees. And that's actually detailed pretty clearly in the Nexus study as well. And so that's generally the purpose behind the fees, is just any type of a project that will expand the service capacity of the district. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a brand new park or a brand new recreation center. It can be anything that is expanding, say, a shade structure, adding to your ball courts, adding to your fields, adding parkland, developed parkland, what have you. Is essentially what these fees can be used for. And I think with that, that's a good overview. So the fees are really the way that the fees are calculated is they have primarily 2 cost components. It's development of park and recreational facilities, and then community use facilities as well. And so we've incorporated the district's new community center as a specific cost component into the fee. And you'll see that that's the acquisition of the Regency Baptist Church property and converting that structure over to a recreation center. So the next step, again, the resolution before you this evening is just merely to is a resolution just to tell the county that you approve of the nexus study, the proposed fees, and you're formally asking the county board of supervisors to adopt it on your behalf. And we anticipate right now for the next couple of months, all the districts in all these 8 park districts in Sacramento County are getting together to approve these studies, and sometime this fall will go before the board of supervisors for final adoption. With that, I'll leave it there and take any questions that the board might have.
Okay, I do have a question, if I might.
Sure.
The park districts involved, I believe, are what? Arcade, Carmichael, Fair Oaks, Mission, North Highlands, Rio Linda, Sunrise, and Orangevale.
Right.
That's okay. I was looking at the Impact Nexus study, and I noticed on the graph that there's a, for a retail commercial, based on square foot, 44 cents for a retail commercial. It's in the same it's in the same impact fee schedule under land use category, and it shows that it's charged for our area at 44 cents for retail commercial. We didn't receive any of that money. Did the county get all of that? Because I don't recall there ever being 44 cents per square foot of any business like Walmart or Winco or any of those businesses, the charging of the fee at the time of permit. I don't recall there being any transfer of 44 cents to the district.
Well, I would not be able to answer that specifically. I think that would be more of a question of the county, the county building department, to be able to go back to this, those collection figures and match up, which development projects they came from and everything else. So I can't say for sure whether there was a project missed or not. But that does raise a good question, and a concern is that the district is relying upon the county and the county building department to impose these fees on your behalf and collect these fees on your behalf. And so to the extent that that one might have got missed, I think that you'd probably have to launch some type of an audit with the county to be able to determine that. So I don't know if that's right or wrong. I can indicate that since 2010, the district has collected nearly $1.2 million in these fees and has expended about $770,000 in these fees to date. So that's some, and there's been quite a bit of proceeds that have been generated, but whether they've been missed or not, that would be more of a question for the county.
Okay, and I have a follow-up question to that. If a business, let's say, goes out of business, like on one of the malls, and a new business comes in, is that fee rechargeable based on the permit, on a new permit that was issued to that business? Or do they require the existing commercial retail space as a...
Yeah, that's a very good question, and we're starting to get into a little bit of a gray area. But under the law, and there's been court cases that have validated this, the principle here is that if you're renovating an existing facility, there's no fee to charge. So just the fact that it went out of business and then it came back into business, it didn't trigger any new construction. So generally that would be a no. Does that help you? Because under the law, what you want to do is let me give you an example just to illustrate the point here. Let's say you had a 10,000 square foot office, and it was demolished, and then it was replaced with a small apartment complex. Under the law, you are required to account for the demolition of that space. So there was an impact coming from the office, and so you have to provide a fee credit for that office. So essentially, what you do is you would charge that new apartment complex the full fees, and then provide them a fee credit equal to that 49 cents times that square footage that got demolished. And so that's sort of the principle there, is that you have to account for taking away of that impact. So generally, if a business just goes out of business, it's not triggering any new construction, so that wouldn't be the case.
Okay,
I know that's a long-winded answer, but that is a little bit of a gray area.
Okay, so I can see why businesses go in and acquire the same footprint as the prior business, because then it's not adding any new footprint. It's just accepting the existing footprint that was there before. Is that the basis of what's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so we have questions still. Oh, okay, thank you. That takes care of that. Let's see if I have anything else. No, that's pretty much, because in reading the Nexus study, I found out under the same county code that they're required to follow. We're mixed in there, and it's the wording is such that it's kind of a gray area, like you said, and I couldn't decipher which was beneficial to the district or which was more beneficial to the county. What department will we go to? The Department of Finance? To find out the...
Well, I would start with the Special Districts Division, which is the division that somewhat oversees these fee programs and your annual reports that you provide, and they're the ones that are bringing forward these. We're working with them to bring forward these 8 studies before the Board of Supervisors, and then they might be able to provide contact information at the building department of who and what type of records they would have to audit that. But that might be a healthy exercise, because sometimes unfortunately districts are in your special districts that are having these type of fees imposed by a city or a county on their behalf. It's not uncommon that sometimes they just get a check or get something deposited in their account, but they're not getting any information to be able to reconcile that. So, to reconcile that to new development that they're aware of. And so that would, that would be a healthy exercise. And it does happen occasionally that there are situations where a fee should have been imposed, but it's overlooked. So I think that having a conversation with the building department would be helpful. And I can on your behalf, I can raise that question of the Special Districts Division and see where we can take that.
Personally, I would appreciate it. I don't know if the board would. Is that a question we would want him to address?
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I think that's a good. So it'd give us some kind of understanding of what's going on, because reading the Nexus study it's really interesting, but then again, it states using the graph and the information. I didn't have access to the state, to the county code rather, 66000 in findings. I couldn't find anything in there that would actually answer my question. I guess you're right. You'd have to ask the question and go and dig a little.
And the question you're referring to is just this question of whether a property that a commercial property that changes ownership should be subject to the fee.
Plus the other, whether or not we're we should receive the impact fee itself instead of the county. I suspect personally, this is just me, I suspect that the money went directly to the county and they didn't bother, because this question was raised back 10 plus years ago before some businesses were going in, and we never got an answer, but we never got a check either. So looking at my notes back then, there was no answer.
Well, let me be clear that if just the change in ownership of a business is not subject to these fees. That is clear.
Not what I'm not going there. That's fine. I understand
Yeah.
that. No, it's,
But
it's
yeah, so
But like the new 7-Eleven.
yeah, like a new 7. Well, if it was a new store, let's
It was
take
demolished, and they
there was
built a new
new like Payless going in, and Payless has been. But if a new Payless was going in, that's what I'm talking about. Whether the impact fee of 44 cents per square foot would go to the district and not the county. I suspect when the permit was taken out, we never saw that. The county just assumed, okay, business permit going through them, boom. It went one way. I don't recall
what's supposed to happen is that when the developer of that Payless shoe store, I think is what you're referring to, goes to the building department to request a building permit. The building department will go and provide that developer with a list of all of the fees that development will be subject to. So they'll pay fees to the fire district, to the park district, to roads. They'll pay fees to the schools. They'll pay a whole series of fees, and then those fees will go to their respective accounts, and then that are held by the county, and then those monies flow to you later. But I think your question is, how can we be assured that every new development is actually being imposed these fees? And you don't know that answer without an audit, right?
And a real quick question here, I think this is a lot easier. I noticed on the Nexus study that new housing going in, like an accessory dwelling, 850 square feet is exempt from any additional costs. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, so
that's right.
So
that's actually, there was a law that was passed a couple years ago that, and that law was passed along with other changes in law to encourage affordable housing, and accessory dwelling units are looked upon as a type of affordable housing. And so the state is really trying to make accessory dwelling units easy to develop. And so they're minimizing a lot of those restrictions and excluding them from any development impact fees except on water and sewer connections. And so that's actually part of the law. The law is actually that these dwelling units, if they're 750 square feet or less, are exempt. But the county decided universally for the county to increase that, to add a couple more restrictions and increase it to 850. But
What if they do I've seen them ask for 1,200 square feet.
that would be permitted. That would be a permit cost, right?
Yeah, I've seen
Right.
some where
So
the accessory dwelling, the homeowners asked for a higher square footage. Now, would that be
Right.
subject to the Nexus fees?
it would. So that's large enough that it would be subject to the fee, and it would be, and not to get too much into the weeds, but the calculation of that fee would be based upon the proportionate size of the home that is on the lot already. But yeah, there would be a fee if it's that significant.
But it wouldn't be the whole fee. It'd be, okay, scaled down.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, I think you've answered my question, answered your question. Erica?
Yeah, for the multi-units, if there are several units in it and they're all under like the 850 square feet, are there any fees assessed for those?
No, for like an apartment structure or duplex, triplex, quadplex, or anything like that, condo unit, they actually pay the rates per dwelling unit. So it's just an accessory dwelling unit is only permitted if it's on a single family property. You know, it's being added. It's a unit being added to an existing single family home property. Yeah.
That answer is pretty good. And on our packet, page 91, there's a chart rather, that indicates multiple family units.
Yeah.
2 to 4 and 5 plus with the impact fee posted.
Yeah.
Thank you, Blair. I mean, that really, sorry to put you through that, but you you hit the nail on the head on all 3 questions. So I really appreciate that.
And then, so just keep in mind that your other fees are your Quimby fees. And I would like to maybe just highlight one difference between the Quimby fees is that you have more flexibility in the use of those Quimby fees. So when you're renovating an existing park, existing shade, existing facility of some sort, or building whatever it might be, you have a wide use of those types of fees, and so keep that in mind as you're looking at these 2 buckets of funding for your facilities, that you might want to use those. You know, don't use up your Quimby fees for new parks when you might want to, try to use them appropriately so that you get the most use out of them, and you don't find yourself restricted because of the restrictions of these park impact fees.
It's still 5-year from the date of incursion of the Quimby fee to use it, or is that changed?
It's not that you have to use it, but you have to have a very specific plan on how you plan on using it. So every 5 years, you have to indicate that this is the unexpended balance that we have, and this is our specific plan on how we're going to use those proceeds. Right now, just as a little in that same spirit, this fee program is actually designed in a way that's actually very flexible for the park districts, in that the determination of these fees is not based upon a specific capital improvement plan. So in conjunction with this Nexus study, you were not required to look for the next 20 years on exactly how much revenue you're going to generate from this, where you're specifically going to spend it, and you didn't have to make any of those determinations up front. So the restriction is that you can only spend them on these types of projects under these conditions, but you have flexibility there. So your capital improvement plan can change year to year, and as long as it's an allowable use, you can use these fees.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, I don't recall, do we do this every year or every 5 years?
No, we do have to do it every year because
Okay. The numbers update every year? Because I don't remember
Yeah,
doing this
when you-
10
Nexus.
years since the Nexus study was done.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause this is the first time I think I've seen this.
Okay, so, okay.
But the Quimby,
Yes.
the Quimby comes in, you have when it comes in, that fee, you've got like a 5-year window to designate where your intentions are going to be.
No,
So
I'm just-
every year, those Quimbys can come in.
I'm just looking at this resolution. How long does this last? And this lasts 10 years.
Well, this is
We-
us
we-
asking the county to approve it on our
to
behalf.
approve it on our behalf. Okay.
There's actually a legislation right now that's being considered that is getting a lot of support and will likely pass, that will require that that these fee programs be updated every 8 years. And so just keep that in mind. But yeah, so you won't have to go through this again, but there will be, you have to provide an annual report every year that just summarizes the activity in the INYET fund for the last fiscal year. And then the other one that we were talking about was a 5-year findings report, which is a special report every 5 years. And we did that for you last year. So in 4 years, you're going to need to do that report again, basically looking at, say you have $500,000 in the fund, you have to specify exactly at that time how you're going to expend those proceeds.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No?
Nope.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Please.
I move we approve resolution number 21-07-673. Resolution approving the Orangevale Recreation and Park District Park Impact Fee Nexus Study update and requesting the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors adopt and implement the updated Park Impact Fee program on behalf of the district.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. We have a vote.
It's money, so we gotta
Okay.
go.
It's money, so we have a
Perez?
vote.
Wait, she's gonna,
Oh, is it just a vote?
It's a vote.
Okay.
It's money.
Okay. So, Mraz,
Yes.
Brumberg,
yes.
Montez is absent, Swenson, yes, and Stickney is absent, so it's 3-0-0.
300 carries.
All right.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You
Thank
too.
Blair.
Thank you.
Sorry, we put him through that, but he answered my questions.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So we have a funding source. Okay, let's go back to, do we have anyone else that wishes to speak? Anybody else we want to pull out?
Well, Susan Barnes is on, but she's coming up, right?
Yeah, Ms. Barnes, is she?
Oh,
She's on.
she said that she's willing to wait for later in the agenda when it comes out. But Susan, if you would like to take your item earlier, we can.
Whatever the board's pleasure, fine with me. So I'm just here at your disposal.
Which one is her item? The,
It's B.
She's 13, B, and C in D&E.
Yes, please. You're on, Susan.
You want to take it? All right, so we would go with, start with your script, Manny, that I gave you
Okay.
earlier.
And, of course, I have it here.
oh, these are the
I've got it here.
assessments, yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'll read it from the beginning so that the audience also knows. These public hearings are to approve budgets and assessment rates for the Orangevale Landscape and Lighting District, OLAD, and the Kenneth Grove Assessment District for the fiscal year 2021 to 2022. Public hearing was held at the June 10th, 2021 Board of Directors meeting, and a final public hearing is presented tonight. Public hearings give the property owners and residents the opportunity to obtain additional information about their proposed levies and provide an opportunity for property owners and residents to provide any additional input or comments to the district. After the public input portion of this hearing, the board will confirm the engineer's report and direct the auditor of Sacramento County to levy and collect the assessments for fiscal year 2021 to 2022. And the procedure is as follows. First, we will hear reports from the district staff about the landscape and lighting district assessment districts. And second, we will next open the public hearing so the public can speak and ask questions. Third, after the close of the public hearing portion of this hearing, staff and consultants will address the questions raised. And four, the public's questions, after the public's questions are answered, public input portion of the hearing will be closed. You please make your presentation.
It's a staff presentation
Oh,
first.
staff, yeah.
Staff presentation.
Yep. So yeah, this public hearing is the last step in the process before the board considers to order the continuation of the levy of the Orangevale Landscape and Lighting Assessment District and the Kenneth Grove Landscape and Lighting Assessment District for 2021-2022 fiscal year. We have asked the board to take any public comments at the public hearing today. We held a public hearing on this same subject at our June 10th Board of Directors meeting. At that meeting, there were no public comments or questions given. I will be happy to answer any questions from the board or the public, and Susan Barnes from SEI Consulting Group is here to answer any questions about the engineer's report or the assessment process. Susan, is there anything you'd like to bring up before we open it to the public hearing?
No, that was an excellent summary, so I'm just, like, as you said, here to answer any questions.
Okay. Any public comment?
So now you would go to the next section, the bottom.
Okay. I now open the public hearing for the Orangevale Landscape and Lighting District Assessment District, OLAD. And if we do have a person and one wishes to speak, we'd ask that you fill out a speaker slip and place it in the basket. We don't have any, is that correct?
Correct.
There are none?
Nobody in person.
Okay, if you're attending on Zoom and wish to speak, please write your name in the chat box and state that you wish to speak regarding the public hearing. When you are called upon to speak, please state your name and address for the record and direct your remarks to the board. Thank you.
Anybody in the chat?
We have no one in the chat.
Close the public hearing.
Public hearing is closed.
For the
If there's no
OLAD.
comment. So, do we have any questions from the board?
No.
Nope.
Been through this.
We've been through this before, and we appreciate your work.
Yes.
You've answered all our questions before and have done remarkable work. We appreciate that. And see, there's no written communications. Okay, that's it.
I move.
Before you do that, sorry, Sharon, then we would also need to have a public hearing for the Kenneth Grove. Right now, we just did the
Should we
OLADs.
do that separately?
We could probably do them together and,
We
or
do-
do one after the other.
Yeah, they're just
and then we
two
could do-
separate resolutions. I was ready to.
Okay, let's do two separate resolutions since they're two separate resolutions.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and close that on the first one. And
Go ahead and.
Go ahead and vote on it.
Okay, I'll move we approve Resolution 21-07-671, resolution of the Board of Directors of the Orangevale Recreation and Park District approving the engineer's report, confirming the diagram and assessment, and ordering the levy of assessment for the fiscal year 2021-2022 for the Orangevale Landscaping and Lighting Assessment District.
I'll second that.
it's been moved and seconded. Vote?
All right, Bremberg?
Yes?
Montez is absent. Swenson, yes. Stickney, absent. And Mraz?
Yes.
All right, 300.
Vote carries 300 on the first resolution. Second resolution, we go through, it's the same, pretty much the same verbiage.
But don't we go to, so the open for the public comment was for both of those?
No, it was for the first one.
OLAD was first and now.
Okay.
So now we'll open
So
it.
now I'm going to open the public hearing for the Kenneth Grove Landscaping and Lighting District, KG-LLAD. I guess that's CLAD. If you're a person who wishes to speak, please fill out a slip, and we have no slips, and place it in the basket at the end of the table. If you're on Zoom and wish to speak, please write your name in the chat box and state that you wish to speak. If you're called upon to speak, please state your name and address for the record and direct your comments publicly to the board. We have none? We have none. There's no other communications involved? Okay, at this time, let's see. We don't have anyone else. We'll go ahead and close that part of the meeting, and are there any questions from the board?
No.
There's no questions from the board? Again,
Okay, I'll make a motion.
make a motion, please.
Resolution number 21-07-672, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Orangevale Recreation and Park District approving the engineer's report, confirming the diagram and assessment, and ordering the levy of assessment for the fiscal year 2021-22 for the Kenneth Grove Landscaping and Lighting Assessment District.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. Vote, please.
All right, Montez is absent, Swenson, yes, Stickney absent, Mraz?
Yes.
And Brumberg?
Yes.
All right, 300.
Vote is 300, carries. Thank you.
All right.
Is that,
Thank you.
Susan, thank you for everything. You've been very helpful to me, my first go-around through this process. I really appreciate it.
this
Did a great
is very
job, and-
helpful.
Yeah, they
Thank
do a
you.
good job.
We appreciate your work. Thank you very much.
Have a great evening.
Okay. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Okay.
So we did C, D,
C, B, and E.
so we'll go back to A.
13A, yeah.
Okay.
Gotta go back to 13A.
13A, we have approval of resolution 2107-670.
I think we got to go back to 7, which is correspondence.
we got-
Yeah,
We go to the Wayback Machine.
we really leapfrogged.
Yeah. Correspondence, do we have any existing correspondence?
We do not.
No correspondence.
No.
Consent calendar?
Consent calendar, because this meeting is so early in the month, we did not get our budget numbers in time for the board packet to go out.
Right, okay.
So we're going to be carrying the June budget items over to August.
Okay.
There was the one non-consent item, though, that
And
we,
it, yes. It's probably good because the income comes in and the bills come in later anyway. So,
I'm not gonna get to that page. Can I just say, can I just motion, we approve the consent item that's there?
okay.
Is that number 9 are you looking at, or what are you looking at?
yeah, there's really no need for a motion. There's,
Oh.
except for number 9, would be a non-consent motion.
Okay. So let's see,
I move we ratify the claims for May 2021, page 11.
okay.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Will we have a vote on that?
Swenson, yes, Stickney absent, Mraz?
Yes?
Brunberg?
Yes.
And Montez absent, 300.
Okay.
Oh, we have activities report. Yeah, we go back there.
Yes. Let's see, do we have anything else going on here?
No standing committee reports.
Okay. Let's go on through, and we have where are we now on
Let's
this?
say activity report.
11A.
Number 11,
Yeah.
administrator's report.
Administrator's report. I do have a few items. On June 9th, I attended a webinar on new requirements for organic waste recycling in Sacramento County. This began July 1st, and OV Parks is required to have separately labeled receptacles in the community center for organic waste, recycled items, and normal landfill trash. We're also required to have a large outdoor container for organic and green waste. And I want to thank Horacio for securing the outdoor container, and Jason for securing the receptacles for inside our buildings. It's a new mandate, and the primary reason for the organic waste is reducing carbon emissions within our landfills. And so it's a mandate starting July 1, so we're already into that. And then starting January 1, it's going to begin, Sacramento County residents are going to have to start recycling organic waste in their homes. So just something to be aware of. That's coming soon.
Okay.
So, waste that somebody at the community center would be putting in this receptacle?
Yeah, that's what I
A
wondered.
hamburger that they
Yes.
didn't eat?
Yes,
So-
mostly
so
food waste.
Food items.
Peels, banana peels, apple cores, but most of when we have rentals is when we feel it's going to be used the most.
okay, when they're using
When
the
they're
facility.
serving food and is going to be table scraps, that type of thing. One thing that I wasn't aware of, that I just learned, is pizza boxes that with soiled oil, that would go into organic waste, not recycling or trash.
Oh.
Yeah, so that is something that
Yeah,
I
you're not
wasn't
supposed
aware
to
of.
put it
I know
Napkins.
this can't go in the recycling.
So how's the
But I
organic
don't like
waste
kids.
taken care of? There's separate truck that comes by and,
Yes, there's a separate dumpster that
bin.
we, yeah. But it can be mixed with green waste, so prunings and clippings can also go in that same receptacle.
in the old days, we used to feed that stuff to pigs.
That was a thought, we were saying that that's on the budget there, we can get a pig for the
That's what I
park.
was,
The OV
I
Parks mascot.
know, we give all ours to our guinea pigs, so.
yeah.
Not county approved.
It's not county approved, right, okay. Well, that's a sidebar right there.
Right. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Also, June 9th, myself and Horacio attended a meeting at Sundance Park and Temple Park with staff from Sunrise Park District, Sacramento Tree Foundation, and the City of Citrus Heights. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss tree mitigation and planting in those sections of Arcade Cripple Creek Trail. So it was the beginning stages of planning to replant trees and finding the best locations to do that. So that was the purpose of that meeting. I'll skip down to June 15th. I met with county staff members Jennifer Classe and Michelle Satow, along with City of Citrus Heights staff Casey Kepinar, Leslie Bloomquist, and Regina Cave, to further discuss the county-owned parcel on Woodmore Oaks near the 7-Eleven. That's going to be part of the trail. The discussion included the possible options and costs for this property to be transferred from the county to OV Parks. And I just want to give you an update. At that meeting, pretty much learned that the county's fees were still $10,000 approximately for that parcel. And it wasn't for the cost of the parcel, it was really for the cost of their staff time and effort to do the work in order to get the deed to us. Since then, I called Supervisor Sue Frost just to see if there were any other options that weren't on the mind of the county staff or our staff. And she did speak with county staff. I heard from Supervisor Frost today, and that really is their lowest fee that they can go, because that isn't the cost of the deed. Like I said, it's the cost of their staff time and the efforts to make that happen.
That includes all costs involved, transfer title and,
Do they have to
Signatures.
resurvey it and put the markers,
The boundary markers.
boundary markers?
Yeah.
They're going to do all that?
Well, that's
Boundary
part
marking?
of the, it's already listed as the parcel on the parcel viewer, so it has the boundaries pretty clearly defined. It's really just a quitclaim deed, and it's the least expensive way of doing it.
quick claim, yes.
Yeah, and I'm not asking the board tonight for approval. This is more informational, and I know that we may want to have another meeting to discuss this, maybe a closed session meeting. But this is just informational, and yeah, and so right now, that is their best offer. So,
I would bring up the point you made about this being similar to a quick claim deed, because that rings pretty true. I mean, that's good. It's just done and over with.
It's a two-page form.
Yeah.
It would take
Right.
me less
And
than an
that's-
hour to do it.
and that's their proposal. That they said would be the quickest and easiest way to do it. And just so you know, in speaking with the City of Citrus Heights staff, they're brainstorming about potential grants that we could apply for to help cover that cost. They're looking into grants through the Department of Transportation, since the trail is going to be part of transportation.
Would SMUD have anything to do with that? That's a 69K line.
It is, the SMUD lines do run through there. It is part of their easement, so
Would they
Oh,
just
they might
wanna-
help us.
they might.
Would they
I
just
didn't think
mind
about
it-
that. That's
We
good.
could ask them.
Because, yeah, it's a 69K line, and they might say, yeah, you give us access to it and
Well, they
clear it
already
up.
have the easement under there.
Well,
but-
when we need it, we'll use the access to get to our 69K line. So it goes the whole length.
All right, good.
Okay,
Good avenue. Yeah.
doesn't hurt asking.
Doesn't hurt to ask. So,
Okay.
and then as far as, to kind of piggyback on Blair's presentation, if we want to go this way, so it wouldn't affect our OLAD or our general fund, there is funds in the park impact fees
That's right.
to cover that. So
To add-
that would be
add some
an appropriate
trails.
use.
the property. Yeah?
Now, that property would count as overall acreage for the park, wouldn't it?
It would.
So it'd shoot us in the foot and the other way. Okay.
The last thing that I really want to talk about on this list is the last one. On June 30th, myself, Jason, and Horacio met with Scott Thompson of Burkett's Pool Plastering. So that was last Wednesday. We met at the pool and discussed the leak problem, and Mr. Thompson will provide us with a cost quote for replastering the entire pool, along with an additional quote to repair the crack section on that joint. He felt the best option would be a stapling procedure, which Horacio was familiar with, and Horacio also thought was a good solution. So
Now, did
we'll
they
get-
empty the pool? I'm sorry, did they empty the pool?
Did they what?
Did they empty they emptied the pool?
Yeah, it is a process to where they will clear the area, they would drill the course for the staples. He was explaining that there's a new way that they do it where they can adjust them by pressure as well to pull in the fracture to give it a more firm and stable attachment to the glue and the epoxy and the concrete area. So
Okay. So there's no problem really with the bed underneath the pool, is there?
Well, we don't know that,
Possibly
so.
yet?
We don't know for sure, but Scott Thompson suggested that there isn't. Just the fact that the ground is usually it's accustomed to taking on water. And he asked the question if we've experienced any runoff on the embankment. And Jason said that we haven't, and that would be an indication that there might be a problem. And we haven't had that experience, so we
Can we
feel...
pump that water onto the grass? Use it for
Oh, when we
irrigation?
drain it?
Yeah. I don't know.
Draining will ensure that there's no particles of chlorine on there and any
Oh.
other chemicals, and it will go to the
It might burn the
upper
ground.
drain.
The answer is we could, because if we let it sit long enough, it'll burn off the chlorine and whatever else is there at that point, if we wanted to, but, it'd flood the grass. We're overdoing it at that point, because we're not going to take our time to water.
And
You
the
have to
hottest
get
part of
quite a bit
the,
of hose, and everything runs that way towards that drain, which is right next to the pool. So any runoff will go to the drain.
so we can take care of our gophers at the same time then.
We could put it in a hole, and then we'll saturate the whole area.
Water peak up
Basically,
everywhere.
We'd be watering Shackleton.
That's,
Yeah.
there's a couple of pear trees that do need it out there.
But Maynard, to answer your question, I just want to be sure we answered your question correctly. We did not drain the pool for Scott Thompson to come out and take a look.
Okay,
So, but we would be draining the pool to have the stapling, of course, done. and
Okay.
The replastering done.
and that would happen after swim season?
Yes.
Okay. Good,
More on the pool later in the agenda.
Yeah.
sounds good. Okay,
The next part of this report is the recreation report, so I'd like to hand this over to Jason.
okay.
So just my highlights there, I kind of gave you the same things we usually see. But so basically a 2020, 2021 year review here. Kind of the high point that I have is that for overall projections, we were still under, what was it, 2,756. But that again doesn't say everything here, because facilities, for that whole year, we weren't able to use these buildings. We still did decent that's the third graph there for the facilities that I have, where we still pulled over $30,000 in field rentals and everything, picnic areas and everything we could rent out. But for the recreation, in that we were $19,535 above projection for that. So I think it's a pretty good highlight on that, because again, we kept things going throughout that, through lockdowns, everything. We picked up in our summertime parts, and we shot past our projections, which is good in a year where not a lot could go on.
In history, you'll say, how did they do it?
And especially when you think of when the budget was created, these projections were based on, getting out of COVID probably around January or February. And,
It was scary.
yeah, so a lot of credit
It's amazing.
to the recreation staff for getting those programs going.
Okay. Anything from personnel or policy? Government, Planning Committee, Trails, nothing yet. Trails, we're still with the Greenway project, so.
Mel, is there anything you'd like to add on recreation?
No, I think the charts, numbers say it all. I think the staff did an amazing job on a constant basis, changing with it and dealing with everyone on the outside public to keep them involved. And everyone put a lot of effort into keeping us going during this time frame.
I mean, we did have a good May, June, putting everything in for the summer. Swim lessons have been close to full almost all summer.
And Wrecking Crew looks like it's,
Wrecking Crew has
Yeah.
quite a bit of, they're utilizing all three buildings down there right now. It's going well.
I stop in and watch some of the recreation activities going on sometimes, and everybody just seems happy to be out, and
I was gonna say, I think most of Mel's classes are full, everything's going full
Yes.
steam ahead, and most of them are filling up. Wiggles and Giggles across the street, Sheila wanted to add an
She did.
afternoon, and we're filling both morning and afternoon now.
Good. That's great.
So at the preschool, so I mean, every place we have something going on is going.
yeah. I was at the front counter and heard conversation from people walking in asking, and it was, I've even heard them outside trying to, are you sure I can't fit mine in?
And, I mean, we'll start out, I know that, like, in this, we had a lot of the school vouchers coming through with the schools that gave out vouchers, but none of this money was voucher money, because
Yes.
that doesn't come in till, this month?
We haven't even billed out for that yet, so
Oh,
that's not
interesting.
included in any of this. This is,
With that all extra, still.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it'll be a nice boost.
Yeah.
Okay,
So on to parks.
yes.
Well, taking care of all the maintenance that the summer brought, including the heat. We had a lot of unusual hot days for the early summer. So we finished all the fire breaks in all the areas. Doug did an amazing job in clearing out a lot of the areas. We had some issues with our brush hog and our equipment. We had to get new blades for it, so we were out of it for a little bit, but he did a lot of it by push mower, which he decided to do that. I told him to wait for the parts and then we'll continue on. But amazing job on that. We also treated the fields for pre-emergent fertilizer for the before the heat wave came along, so that minimized some of the weeds. We filled two of the playgrounds with sulfate material to make it safer. There was two that we did with the oak and filbert and pecan. So they're fully replenished. We will do here shortly this fiscal year Norma Hamlin and almond. So talking to Barry, we're probably going to be doing that two per fiscal year. I think that's a reasonable plan to have, and continue with that maintenance.
Okay.
And just starting to work on the tree removal that we talked on the maintenance committee. As you know, some of the trees in here in the area we're going to start removing. I also noticed that in walking some of the nature areas and some of the parks, I'd like to report to the board that we're having some dead trees in the area. I don't know if you have noticed some that were not dead last year. Oak and filbert has a couple of them that I noticed. Pecan has two as well, and another one that is looking pretty sad. We removed one of the eucalyptus that died last year, and we also have another eucalyptus that is also going on there. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Any thought going into the eucalyptus that's here?
Which one? The
Coming
one by
down?
the new property?
Yeah.
Well, that one can go down by itself, in my opinion.
That's what I would,
No, it doesn't. It looks pretty healthy to me.
that's what I was afraid of.
Yeah, so.
I'm sorry, I'm not very in favor of eucalyptus or
I have the same
cottonwoods.
feelings about brittle trees that could go at any time.
It's a eucalyptus.
But that's one of the things that we can't control, and from the looks, that the trees don't look diseased. perhaps is the change from a healthy environment, especially along the creeks, because we used to have water in there, and no longer they have that source of food, so they're suffering. And we have a lot of trees as well, so.
I was listening to NPR on the way over, and they were talking that in California, new trees are exempt from the water regulations. So if they're under 5 years of age, they're exempt from the water restrictions. And so I didn't know that. So it's interesting to hear that, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but
Yeah, we're still watering some of the older ones that we planted a while back, that you can tell that they're stressing out. So, you know, as we see them, we give them a little extra water.
And this drought is not kindly to.
No, and it looks like we're gonna have a few more, over 100 degree days here coming up, so.
Yeah.
Got to gear up for that.
How's your crew holding up?
Good. They're, you know, her work and taking care of the essentials and just taking care of business, you know, taking care of the immediate needs in all different areas of need. We just did, for example, we just did the horse arena, the large horse arena, and until that.
That looks good.
We have two different groups that like the grounds a little differently. Some like it a little softer, others like it a little more firm. Doug does his best when he does it, so and hopefully we'll get a little bit more work done on the small round pan here shortly. So little by little, I mean, you know, we take care of one project at a time.
What needs to be done with the small round pen?
Just pull the sand from around the edge, because it has, you know, push it out. Plus, we're missing some of the clamps that we have to bring a little tighter. Some of the boards are already cracked, or they're kind of buckling a little bit. So some of the maintenance that, you know, is needed. Like I said, you know, it'll take a little bit, but you know, one item at a time.
Is your crew heat protected?
they start at 6 o'clock now instead of 7.
We changed the schedule to 6 o'clock so they can get started, because especially for the mower, the mowers, you know, get the extra heat because of the engine. And I changed that schedule earlier, but
Okay,
yeah,
good.
no,
Good.
we're starting a little bit early.
That's good. Okay.
So the last thing on this report was the Fulton El Camino Park Police report, and really quite a quiet month, especially for summer. You would think there might be a little bit more activity.
I know, I was like,
Too busy doing things somewhere else.
Right.
Okay. We have, let's see,
On to new business.
13A.
let's go on and take it from the top, 13A.
13A. So this is passing a resolution to address the change in the salary schedule for the fiscal year based on what the board approved at last month's meeting with the preliminary budget. The three main items were the 2.4% cost of living adjustment for full-time staff, a 1.5% increase for 2 full-time positions listed in Category 2, and then a 3% increase for 4 full-time positions listed in Category 8. And the overall fiscal impact is $39,358. That's salary and benefit costs.
I move we pass Resolution 21-07-670 that amends the district's salary schedule for fiscal year 2021-22.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Resolution 21-07-670. Let's do the vote.
Stickney is absent. Mraz?
Yes?
Brunberg?
Yes?
Montez absent. Swenson, yes. 300.
Okay. B and C have been done. Let's go to 13D.
D has been done as well?
That's done
Yep.
too.
13D and E is done. Have been done.
E has
E is done.
done.
F is
F's been
done.
done. G,
G's been done?
it's sliding right along.
H, yeah, we're
On to H.
Okay.
So this is, we received a letter of engagement from Auditor Larry Bain to conduct the audit for fiscal year 2021 in the amount not to exceed $8,900. So this is asking for a recommendation to continue using Larry Bain for the next audit.
I move we approve the letter of engagement from Auditor Larry Bain for the fiscal year 2020-21 audit in the amount not to exceed $8,900.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. Let's take a vote.
All right, Mraz, Brunberg.
Yes.
Montez absent, Swenson yes, Stickney absent, 300.
Okay, it's been moved and approved. Good music to end that.
Yes.
Okay, 13I, the approval for consulting services for the aquatic design. We've heard pretty much most of that already, I guess. Is there anything else to add to?
Yeah, this is different from the gentleman that we met with.
Okay.
The gentleman we met with had to do with the plastering, if we go that route. This is asking for us to have a professional consultant engineer come out and do a full diagnostic of our pool, including the mechanical room, and help us determine exactly what is wrong and help provide some suggestions for what we need to do to prevent the leak and fix the joint. And if there's anything in the mechanical room that is on a particular timeline, life expectancy timeline, that we need to be aware of, that we're made aware of that. And this company, Aquatic Design Group, came highly recommended. City of Folsom has used them, Cordova, and they have a great reputation statewide. And I'd like to get somebody with great experience to come in and give us a real honest and trustworthy opinion.
Cordova has a new pool. too,
And they're
don't
not
they?
doing the work, so they're going to tell you what you need to do.
Yes, that's
So,
true.
yeah. I move we
go
approve the
ahead.
proposal for consulting services from Aquatic Design Group to provide a needs assessment study for the OV Park swimming pool.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded.
All right,
Can we have a vote on 13I, please?
Brunberg,
Yes.
Montez absent, Swenson yes, Stickney absent, and Mraz.
Yes.
All right, 300.
There's 13J, approval of sections of damaged concrete pathways at the OV Community Park to be replaced with new concrete in affordable and manageable intervals over the next 3 fiscal years.
Right, so Horacio and I walked the pathway, looked at the damaged areas. We pretty much classified them as, what is most needy, most in need of repair or replacement. Not really going to repair it. And have a pecking order for like a 3-year plan over the next 3 fiscal years to get the pathway up and looking new. It would
Couldn't
be-
this be part of the annual, when we do their annual budget, we do the equipment and that stuff? Can we, you prioritize and put an amount in there each fiscal year?
Yes.
As part of that capital improvement? Yeah, capital, I'm like, what's that thing called?
Yes, we would add this to the capital improvement plan, so.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's something that we would move here to go that way.
Yeah.
It just would be in our capital improvement
Right.
plan?
Just letting you know that it's my intention to go in that direction, so we feel we could space it out and it'll have less impact on our overall budget.
Right.
Okay.
And
So then I would recommend this be added to the finance committee discussion for the next budget to make sure that we've put in an allotment for this and itemize it at the, I think it's the community center park, and then just put down what you want to do for each year and put that on that plan.
we will update the report.
Yeah.
It is budgeted for, if we spread it out over 3 years, roughly $10,000 to $12,000 a year.
Yeah, that seems like something we could do. That
Yeah,
seems
we
very
can do
doable.
that. That's
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
baked into our OLAD.
Okay. So are you just moving to have it be included in the capital improvements? Or is there a motion at all? Do we need a
Yeah,
motion?
that's what I'm thinking. I don't know that I need to make a motion to do
Don't really
that.
need a
That's
motion.
Okay, just direction.
Just direction that, yeah, finance committee can take
Okay.
that on. But just, yeah, for the record, you're going to add that to the capital improvement plan.
Great, we'll update the plan, and then we'll go ahead with that intention.
So it'll be listed kind of as a priority as ED?
It's a pretty high priority and something we want to attack fairly early in the fiscal year. And then as the fiscal year goes on, if we find towards the end of the fiscal year that we still have quite a bit of money in that category in OLAD, we can move on to another section.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, safety first, so safety for the people in the parks. Okay, K. This
K is being tabled.
Yeah, we
That's
moved that
tabled.
to next one, yeah.
Right, because, for reasons. Okay, so that's moved on. And I,
L.
Yeah.
this is a kind of an FYI, right?
It is. It's more of an FYI, and I just wanted to bring this to your attention. Before we do that, we'll go back to K real quick.
Okay.
There's a possibility that all events management group will need some sort of an answer before the August meeting, in which case we may need to call a special meeting to address this one item. Just bringing that to your attention.
And there was a reason you wanted to move it to the next month? Okay.
So I'll let you know if that needs to be sped up.
Okay.
So this last item, there's a neighbor to Sundance. His property is adjacent to Sundance Park, and he lives at the end of Warhorse. And he was asking for permission to potentially purchase part of our property to help him extend his backyard. And so
I was going to say, you're on Warhorse, is that
I
you?
am. No, it's not me. But I said, depending on how they answer, I may get in line here. That's an option.
So I told him that very unlikely that the district would be interested in selling off our assets. But I was going to bring it to the board and talk to the board about any kind of precedent, if there was any precedent. I did have a conversation with Manny about at least one exception when the lot line was jagged, and
Yeah,
as
you kind
as
of
good
rounded
name
off
to,
or
we
something,
we helped to create a consistent.
Straight line.
But that's the only example that we had, and so I just want to bring that to the board. You know, we would be making quite an exception. if
Yeah,
we-
because I would think there's people that are off of Elm that back to where our horse arena and stuff is.
Right.
They would love to move it.
They would, oh, can I have a little bit more for my deck or my, and then what about the guy, wasn't there one guy that was encroaching on,
Yep.
in the trail with
Yeah.
his deck?
Yeah.
That was being eroded away?
Mhm, yes, fence and concrete and deck and
Right.
everything else. Yeah, I think this would set kind of a precedence that we probably don't want to go down.
Yeah, yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, I walked that property, in fact, with Smud cutting some of those trees down, I got to actually walk almost the entire creek line, and it was, our park looks bigger. It looks a
Oh, with the
lot.
trees cleaned out, well, some of the brush too.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe how big that park really was, and I thought I knew every inch of it. And that creek is pretty deep. I had forgotten how deep that creek really is when it comes out behind the houses on Sundance.
There's no water in it now, though, is
No,
there?
there's a little bit
Oh,
on the
really?
backside, yeah. But it's still, there's some greenery back there, and there's marks of wildlife in and around the area. But it's, yeah, it's, I don't know if we want to go that way.
Yeah, I think the majority of the board was gonna be, yeah, no.
We're going to be opening ourselves up to, if we do one, we're going to shoehorn the other one, and then the other one, and then the other one, and
Yeah.
So-
It'd be, yeah,
especially with natural open space. Space
yeah.
is hard to acquire, and once you get rid of it, you can't get it back.
Yeah, I think like you said, the only examples if we tried to true up a lot line to make it cleaner. That would be the only thing, but not just to give some added space to their yards. I could just see the lines, well, how can we give it to them and not to me? You know?
Yep.
We'd have to come up with the criteria and, just get messy ugly.
The nice thing is he wanted to plant some fruit trees back there. I've got some peach trees if anybody wants some. But anyway, I think you got pretty much a consensus.
Yes, thank you.
I think the other board members would pretty much go along the same way.
Yeah, probably, most likely. I know Mike would.
Okay, and let's go to director's staff and comments. Nothing? Jason?
How much more to add than that?
Okay, you guys, Horacio?
Just getting ready for the heat. Yeah. Yeah, just, thanks to all the staff and, all their work and endurance out there, especially with the really needed things like, broken main lines and things like that need to be addressed soon. So appreciated overall the effort to address the needs of the district. And thanks to all the support from the, other departments as well as the public, which, they bring to our attention some of the needs. And it seems like now that more people are out, there's a lot more eyes in the park, and they're looking at their backyards a little more, so we're a little more busy addressing some of the concerns and some of the questions that they have. So that's kind of part of how it goes. It usually happens right after the rainy season, in the normal year. This year it happened a little later, so. But overall, trucking along, moving forward.
Good.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to, a little shout out to Nelson Kirk, our parks maintenance worker. I did a ride along with him a couple weeks ago and got to work with him side by side for a day. And yeah, what Horacio was saying is, the amount of work that they do, and I get a real appreciation for especially the irrigation work that's going on right now.
I saw the 30 sprinklers and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I learned a lot about what's going on in the parks as far as irrigation. And, but just a great guy and a real asset to the district, and I really enjoyed my day working with him. A real shout out to the office staff, to Jennifer and her staff, that I'll tell you, because I hadn't been a part of the district before COVID, and knowing that we're going to be opening up to the public, I'm like, I trust that they're going to hit the ground running, but there's always some apprehension. And well-oiled machine. I mean, the office staff was on it and ready, addressing the public. The phones have been ringing like crazy, and it's just fantastic work. A lot more registrations to process, and now with these vouchers with the schools, a lot more extra work there, but it's all worth it. And that's the attitude too. The staff is, phones ringing, it means people are joining our programs, and that's what we want. So that's great. And then I know Nadia's not here, but the camp is going really well from what I can see, and her staff is fantastic. Really, really nice group of young adults and the junior leaders, and I feel like the kids are in really good hands. So happy with that. And the aquatics program too, Jason's staff, fantastic, and it's great to see the pool being used and the activity. So that's all I have.
Do you have anything?
Not really, no. Everything's, like Horacio said, it's trucking along, everything's good.
And dealing with Larry Bain, that's coming up, or last?
Not until October, so a little
October?
while, yeah. Let me get to the summer first.
Oh yeah, this is early July. I'm already a month ahead of myself.
Oh, yeah, it is for the year that just ended, huh?
Okay, Erica, you have anything?
I would just second that about the staff has just been amazing. Like it's nice to actually be able to utilize things. So the office staff helped me to sign my kids up for different things, and attended the what is it called, the wrecking crew, and loved it. It was so neat to be able to like drop them off at the new facility, and she really liked that new facility. So they had them separated in 3 different cohorts, which was really nice. They could utilize that building, and then we got swim lessons coming up. So it's just like really exciting, and that we get to use the, do these activities. So, and everybody's been super helpful. So I even did like the noon lap swim.
Right.
So it's nice. Yeah, it's good.
Nadia worked really
Exciting.
hard on keeping her cohorts separated too. Even when it's down at the pool, they are all separated completely, sprinklers, and one group goes in, so she's done an amazing job of the separation and keeping the activities fun.
Yeah. Yeah. They loved it. I mean, my daughter and the neighbor were like, "Can we do another week?" So, yeah, they had a really great experience. So,
Cool.
yeah. And Kathy helped me a lot. I'm out of practice of how to sign up for stuff. So, that's it.
Just ditto kudos to the staff, just hanging in there and doing what you can, and glad we could get rid of furloughs and all that. Now it's like, yay, we're back in the game. So yeah, just kudos, good job.
Thank you.
Okay. And I do have a comment. I heard little ones crying down by the activities building. They didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I think that says a lot. They were crying, no, we don't want to go.
Thought you were going to say it was because of bee stings. We had a couple of those today.
Oh, no. But also, I've seen a week and a half ago, I saw the sprinklers going off over here at the activities building. And I was wondering, why are the sprinklers going on? It was like maybe they were off time or something. Anyway, it was little ones out there running up and down the sprinklers like you couldn't
yes.
believe.
Yeah, that was part of the wrecking crew, right?
Yep. They loved it.
Love it.
They were having such a
They
field
loved
day.
it. Yep.
And it was, the weather was fine, and the kids were just, some were putting on the towels on the back like Superman and running through and back and forth. And they were just having a field day, and I said, wow, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Join them.
Believe me, I wanted to, but I can't run anymore. So, plus you don't want, well, they could jump over me. But anyway, that's all I've got. Anything else? Next month, we're going to go and we'll go through and have K, item 13K, on the
Yes.
the agenda.
And 6A. 6A as well.
And 6A as well. And I think we pretty much completed the agenda we had for our meeting.
I
Move
move
we
we approve.
adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay. Been moved? All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, happy 4th.